Alright folks, it's the Saturday morning after Thanksgiving, and if you're anything like me, you've probably got some leftover turkey meat. The white meat, it's dry, I don't like eating it. Even, you know, if it's a rotisserie or something, maybe it's nice and moist, or depending on how you cook it, but for the most part it's a drier meat. And I just don't like it as leftovers. It's set out, it's been exposed to the air a little bit, it's dried out a little bit, it gets kind of crumbly if you cut it up. So we're going to take and we're going to put it in our power cooker here. I'm going to show you how to make a delicious turkey leftover soup. So now one thing to understand is I don't measure a lot of stuff, but that's okay. This is going to be something that's going to be real easy to do. You're going to use whatever ingredients you like to use, kind of based off the ingredients that I'm going to use. And if you follow this, you should end up with something that's delicious. So let's get started. Let's get some turkey meat cut up. All right, so we got a smoked turkey here. You can see we've got some of the breast here is gone, but this whole breast is still intact. So we're gonna cut that off, put it on a cutting board, chop it up into little cubes. Alright, we just pull that breast meat off, get rid of the smoked skin. We don't need that in the soup. And chop this stuff up. Alright, so we pretty much got all the breast meat off of there. The rest of this is going to be dark meat, wings and back, and some thighs still left. So we're going to save that for munching on. Alright, so we got our meat here. We've also got our pot here that goes in our power cooker, and just taking that out so that it's easier to throw the turkey meat into it as we cut it up. So you'll see me cutting this and dumping it in there. And I'm just going to start by cutting it long ways, and then we'll come back and cut it sideways, and that should pretty much cube it, because this is white meat, so it's kind of dry. It's going to break apart naturally along the muscle fibers anyway. And then plus when you cook it down, it's going to be okay. We'll rotate all this 90 degrees. And cut it again. Alright, so you can see that's nice and cubed. I guess if you was feeding this to grandma or something, you might want to cut the chunks up even a little bit smaller. You can certainly do that. Just depends on your preference. Most of this stuff is, like I said, going to break down pretty small pieces if you put any kind of pressure on it anyway. Alright, now you know what, I think I've got enough. I've still got this other turkey breast over here, but I think I'm going to put that in a baggie, use it for something else. I think I've got enough turkey in there. We got a couple good handfuls, and by the time we put all our vegetables and stuff in there, I think that's going to be plenty enough turkey. Alright, so I like mushrooms, and I get these baby bellas. They're only about 20 cents more a package than the regular white button mushrooms. At any rate, we're going to cut those up. I'm going to put a whole 8-ounce package. These, once I get them chopped up, put in there for the soup. Alright, so we got our mushrooms cleaned, and just going to start cutting these up. You could cut these up any size you want. You could dice them really small, or you could leave them in bigger chunks. Just depends on how you like your mushrooms. Again, this is a quick and easy recipe. Whatever's easiest for you, whichever way you like it, will work. Alright, so in my opinion, you can't have soup without a good onion. This is a white onion. You could use yellow or red or whatever you like. Or if you don't like onion, leave it out. Again, we're putting stuff in here we like to eat. So if you like something, put it in there. If you don't like it, leave it out. Alright, so I'm going to show you my favorite way to cut up onion real quick. I like to cut it in a slice like that. That is however wide, however thick I like my onion pieces. And then I'll cut it this way. Take this half, put it over here on top, and just slice around here like the spiral, like the arms on a clock. And when you're done, you've got your onion pieces as whatever size, however small you like them. And we just put these in the pot. So again, I like onion. I think cut up this whole onion and put it in the pot. This is a good size onion. Alright, I'm going to add some carrots. I kind of like carrots, and thought add some color to the soup. So again, just add however many carrots you think you might like in your soup. I think the way I'm going to cut these, I'm going to cut them in half maybe, and then cut them this way. That way they're fairly small, bite size, fit on a fork or in a spoon. Don't want them too big. So yeah, baby carrot cut up about like that. I think that'll work pretty good. Now if you got a smaller carrot like this, you might not want to cut it in half because the sliced pieces are about the right size of what I've been cutting up anyway. And you could also shred this carrot if you wanted the carrots to kind of disappear into the soup a little bit more. Just shred some bigger carrots. Alright, so I trimmed the dried edges off of the end of my celery here because I like celery. I want some celery in the soup. Now, normally people might tear off one of these celery stalks and cut it up, but all my flavor is in these celery leaves. So what I want to do is use as many of those as possible. They're all at this end, not at this end. So I'm gonna actually cut my celery, just starting from the end, cut it back until I got enough. Probably won't cut back more than about that far or so. Get all the leaves, and that's probably going to be plenty enough celery. So we're just going to start cutting here. That looks like a lot of celery, but again, that's a lot of the leaves. So don't really have that much celery yet. Into the part of the stalk where we don't have very many leaves yet left, and it's mostly just stalk. And I think I've got probably just about enough celery, so we're going to call it quits right there. Alright, so as you can see, we got our turkey down here at the bottom. We got some onion, we got our mushrooms in there, we got our carrots, we got our celery. That's pretty much all the vegetables I'm going to put in there. And you know, again, you could use whatever vegetables you like. Bok choy, I like bok choy. That's a good one to add in here. Would be a good addition to this. If you like your bok choy, you could put rapini or baby broccoli in there, whatever you wanted to. So, but now it's time to start adding some stuff that's going to make this more like soup. Alright, so time to make this a little soupy. So we're going to put some seasoning in here. Now, I have some squeezed garlic that I'm going to put some in here. It's just minced garlic. Get some to break away there. That's probably the perfect amount, obviously. Now, we've already got, if you didn't have squeezed garlic or fresh garlic, you could always use some garlic powder or garlic salt. We've already got onion in here, so we don't need any of this. But again, if you wanted to, you could use onion powder or onion salt. There's some garlic salt, powder or salt, depending on what it is you like. I can't really imagine making a soup without having a little bit of black pepper in it. So we're just going to sprinkle a little bit on there, not too much. And some oregano leaves. Again, hard to imagine soup without just a little bit of oregano. So I'm just going to sprinkle just a little bit on there. Give it a nice dusting. I love cumin. So we're going to put a little cumin in there. This is a typical chili sort of taste. But it's good in lots of different stuff. And we'll put a little bit of basil in this. Again, depending on what spices you like, just use whatever it is you like. If you're not sure if you like it, take a little piece of it and taste it. If you don't like it, don't put it in there. If you do like it, put it in there. And then, so now we got some seasonings. I could put some salt in here, but I'll wait and I'll salt it to taste later. So now we want to make it soupy. And this is a quick and easy recipe. Somebody's grandma out there is going to hate me because I'm not making this totally from scratch. But I've got my turkey, I've got my vegetables in there. And so I've got a couple soups here that you could pick from. You could go with some cream of mushroom. You could go with some cheddar cheese soup. I'll be putting that in there for sure because I like give it a nice cheesy taste. And cream of celery. So you could use cream of chicken, almost any cream of something soup you could put in there. And so we're just going to open these up and we're going to dump them in there. I'll get a spoon to get this stuff out, but we're not going to add any water to this because we got all these vegetables in there. They're going to cook down and be watery. So I'm just going to add this on top. We're going to put it in the power cooker and turn it on. And I bet you we end up with soup. Alright, so we got our soups in there. I'm not going to stir this or nothing. I am just going to take it, put it in the power cooker, and let it cook. And we'll end up with soup out of this, believe it or not. It all mix up and everything. Alright, so I set this for 50 minutes and it's cooked. It's on, it goes to warm automatically, and time to open this up. And we can vent it here. Open it up and see what we got in here. Be careful of the steam. Alright, so that's what it looks like. I'm going to stir it and see if it doesn't turn into soup. We got, looks like all our vegetables are pretty cooked. Yeah, looks like it's just a matter of mixing this up a little bit. Remember, this was fairly full, and it's cooked down quite a bit. That's about the right consistency that I like for soup. I know Some people like their soup a little runnier. I like my soup a little thicker. Not quite casserole thick, but pretty close to it. Alright, so there's our soup. Time to get out a little bowl and taste it and see what it tastes like. Alright, so we got our soup. Looks nice and chunky. See some steam coming off there. It's pretty hot. Might need just a little bit of salt. We didn't add any extra salt to it. But other than that, it's good soup. So hopefully this helps you make some soup. And however you make it, hopefully it turns out great.